Happy New Year! Find English jobs in Germany. Even better, get German employers to hire you in English before you even speak German. Hi, my name is Pyak, and last year I helped 40 international professionals like you, 40 expats, to find jobs here in Germany. With 5 exceptions, they were all successful. So some of them found a job much faster than others. During the holiday season, I always sit down and I look at my best clients, at the clients who got a job in Germany way faster than all the others. Let me show you what they did differently and what I found out. I looked at the top 10 expats that I worked with in the last year. And top 10 in this context means the 10 clients, the 10 international professionals who found a job the fastest, faster than anybody else here. So what did they all have in common? Of course, you start by looking at the hard facts that you know about my clients. Well, these are my top 10 clients last year. They found a job sometimes in a month. The longest of them needed 4 months to find a job. What they all have in common? They have a university degree, obviously. But is it the profession that they have in common that helped them to find a job? Well, if I look at those clients who were most successful, they come from all kinds of industries. There's IT, obviously, there's engineering, but there's also psychology, construction, sales, management, biotech, very different industries. So that was not what helped them to get a job faster than anybody else. There's one caveat when it comes to professions, because there are a few professions where it seems to me that it's nearly impossible to find a job here in Germany if you don't speak German language. And I will come to them a little bit later, but first let me show you which other criteria could have been an influence. Do they live in Germany? Well, only 4 of the top 10 clients lived here in Germany. The other 6 lived all around the world, in Kuwait, in India, in the United Arab Emirates, in the United States and in other places. South Africa somehow is a very common place where clients of mine are living. So is it maybe that they have a university degree from Germany? Well, 70% of my clients have a university degree not from the European Union, but from another country. So maybe being a European Union citizen and not needing a visa helped them. But that's also not true. 90% of my clients are not citizens of the European Union. They come from all over the world. So none of these hard facts made a difference. So what was it that helped them to be so successful, so fast, to find an English job in Germany or a job where they could start working in English and learn German on the job so much faster than other people? So I looked through each of my clients and I worked with them for many months, so I got to know them very intimately. And I realized they all have one thing in common that's not on the sheet and that's not a hard fact, but that makes all the difference. And I will show you what this one thing is and how you can use it to get a job in Germany very quickly in a moment. But before, I need to share with you one thing, one sort of professions that unfortunately doesn't really seem to work in Germany for you. There is 4 professions that I realized in the last year have very little chance to find a job in Germany. And it's very frustrating, but I realized that I cannot work with clients with these professions anymore, because even after 6 months of hard working and cooperating with them every single week, it was impossible to even get them to an interview. And the first of these professions, ironically, is HR professionals. If you are an HR professional and you come from another country hoping to work in Germany, I'm very doubtful that you will get anywhere because Your German colleagues, they are not very open-minded in even wanting to listening to you. Very sad about that, but the reality is like this. The second group who has a really hard time finding jobs in Germany is everyone working in accounting or controlling. And here I can understand this. German tax laws are the most complicated in the world. Even Germans, we don't understand it. So if you are not really fluent in German, you cannot understand the laws and therefore you can't help your clients. Marketing is also an area where unfortunately there is very little opportunities because most companies still work here in Germany. They expect you to speak C1 level of German. And very few companies are willing to hire someone here in Germany to address markets out of Germany. That's one thing I had to learn the hard way in the last year. And the last group is everyone working in consulting in IT. An extreme example is SAP. If you are an SAP engineer, then usually here in Germany you should get job offers. Once or twice per week, a headhunter should reach out to you to try to offer you a job. But this changes dramatically in the moment when you are not fluent in German. And fluent here means C1 level, native speaker. That's the feedback I get from consulting companies all the time. Because they argue their clients are German Mittelstand, and if you don't speak really fluent German, they will not work with you because they don't speak English. I don't personally believe this. I think this is a lot of bullshit, to be honest. But turns out that companies who hire IT consultants, they're not willing to take these risks. So that's unfortunately something that will not work very well for you. But what did work? You know, these 10 clients of mine, they were the top 25% of my clients who got a job, meaning they got a job way faster than anybody else. And what they all had in common is something I will show you at the example of Naveen. Come over here. So Naveen got a job in just 4 weeks. Naveen used to apply to jobs the usual way. He would write a CV, send the CV to the HR department, who would immediately reject him because of no German. Then Naveen met me, and finally he realized he can go a very different way. He applied in the very same company that had already rejected him. But instead of going to the HR department, Naveen looked for someone working in the department where the job was offered. And he found someone, and through common interests, he got to talk with him about the requirements of the job. Talking to this employee of the company, he realized that there's another job that is not even advertised. And he got this employee of the company to introduce him to the manager in charge of this new job. The manager talked with Naveen, and Naveen was very smart. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't talk about his education. He didn't talk about what great achievements he had. Instead, he listened. He listened to the goals of the manager. And he understood why these goals are so important to the manager. And then, only then, he offered a solution based on his personal, professional experience. This way, the manager could see that Naveen was not only talking about something he can do, he could prove from his actual work history that he had solved similar problems in the past for other companies. The manager was impressed and ordered HR to invite Naveen for an interview. And the result of that was very simply, Naveen got the job. And all of this took him 4 weeks. Unbelievable results. You see, what each of my clients, each expats who very, very fast got a job in Germany, what they all had in common was not some category or some kind of formal education. What each and every one of them has in common is that they have excellent people skills. They approach the job hunt not from the fact that, oh, I need a job, I need a job. They go to an employer with the attitude of, hey, share with me what your biggest problems is, help me to understand how I can help you, and then I will show you how I can help you solve your problems. They make it about the manager and how they can help the manager. And that's what we all want in the end, is someone who has our back and someone who can help us get what we want. I would like to help you to get a great job here in Germany, even if you don't speak German yet. And I invite you to join me on a free Expats career webinar. I will post the link to the webinar here in the description of the video, or you can go directly to pyak.eu/webinar. That's my name. If you want to join the free Expats career webinar and find out step by step how you actually do this in the real world, join my free webinar at pyak.eu/webinar. Join the free Expats career webinar at pyak.eu/webinar.